An economy can't just rely on one or a couple of government funders. It requires a diverse web of customers and suppliers. In space, that means more nations and companies from around the world carrying out operations. But getting there requires that we make access to space less risky and more affordable. And that requires infrastructure. On Earth, seaports and roads and communication systems are critical to forming an economy. But these kinds of large-scale infrastructure are expensive. They take a long time to generate a profit, and most of their value is externalized, meaning it mostly benefits the broader economy and society rather than the builder or operator directly. And that's why you almost never see a private company entirely funding public infrastructure. Even a giant corporation like Amazon wouldn't be in business if it had to pay for its own roads, ports, and postal service. So governments tend to play a role here. Governments are able to make the large, patient infrastructure investments because they can internalize the economic benefits they create. But none of the major space agencies are designed to make these kinds of economy-enabling investments. So, for instance, NASA's priorities tend to be about inspiration or international collaboration, science, exploration. And these are all really important priorities and worth pursuing, but they aren't the same as creating an economy on the moon. So I don't think we can expect these major space agencies to do all of these important things while also serving as economic development agencies. But wouldn't it be nice if we did have an institution that was dedicated to creating a lunar economy? And even better, if it funded infrastructure that benefited actors across many nations in order to broaden the market as much as possible. But infrastructure alone isn't enough. We also need shared standards, binding rules, and enforcement mechanisms to prevent interference and conflict. These are what's known as institutions. And the Outer Space Treaty and other international laws and principles get us part of the way there, but they aren't effective by themselves. So, for instance, if you're investing the billions it would take to build a base of operations on the moon, there may not be much you can do if someone from another country starts landing and launching anywhere remotely near you and blasting regolith that damages your equipment. If you're a mining company, that would mean you'd probably need to grab as many resources as fast as you can before someone else starts interfering or even mining the same spot. That's what's known as a tragedy of the commons situation. Or you might feel you need to secure as big of a region as possible and declare a huge safety zone that excludes others from using the area without your permission. And that leads to another challenge. So how do we keep the lunar economy broad and inclusive and open to new entrants? Given the high costs of operating on the moon and the difficulty with preventing interference, there's a real risk that just one or two governments or major companies end up controlling the infrastructure that everyone else has to rely on. And if that happens, it would give those entities enormous leverage, allowing them to distort the space economy in their favor for centuries into the future. We saw that kind of thing happen in the 1500s and 1600s, and it prevented open, competitive market economies from forming in many areas of the world.